it seems like every week Congress is printing up hundreds of billions of dollars and just sending it to somebody, usually Zelensky in the Ukraine, all part of their money laundering operation. It's because it's basically the US is the Titanic right now, and it's just about completely underwater. Like the band's been playing for a while, and the rats, which is all the government and central bank people, are just stealing everything they can before it all goes under. And it's basically, it's already gone under, but people don't realize it yet. The US now has $16.5 trillion in household debt, which is a record. It has a record $11.9 trillion in mortgages, which is a death contract in French. It has a record $1.6 trillion in auto loans. It has a record $986 billion in credit card debt. Total mortgage debt, or death contract debt, is now more than double the 2006 peak, which is when it last fell apart. Meanwhile, 36% of Americans have more credit card debt than savings, with balances rising at the fastest pace since 1999. This is all while mortgage rates just hit 7.1% and credit card debt rates hit a record 24.9%. Yeah, I won't do the math for you on that, but when you have $1 trillion worth of credit card debt, or how much is in credit? Yeah, about $1 trillion. And then the interest rate's 24.9%. Basically, like all the money in the world can't pay it back pretty much at this point. And it's all going down, and it has to go down. But how it goes down is the interesting part, and it can be totally fun if you're positioned properly. But if you're totally just going along hoping the system stays together, first of all, it's not. And second of all, it shouldn't. It's a completely evil system. The whole central banking, fractional reserve banking, governmental systems based on extortion, all the wars they create. Basically, if you're using even government currencies or giving into their extortion, all you're doing is financing the biggest terrorist organizations on earth. For all the people out there buying like treasury bills because it pays like 5% or whatever it does, you're basically financing the most evil terrorist organization on earth. And people might say, yeah, but I'm getting a guaranteed 5%. It's like, you're also guaranteeing hell on earth because you're giving the worst terrorist organization on earth tons of money, loaning them money to continue doing what they're doing. So it's great this whole system is going to come down. And that's why I'm on a ranch. Basically growing all my own food, going to have all my solar power, all my own water, and just get ready for the apocalypse. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But yeah, here's me when I see someone complain about inflation after they supported the stimulus checks, minimum wage increases, rent controls, spending bills, and shutting down the economy. Yeah, we told you it was all coming. No one listened. But that Silicon Valley Bank, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And there's the Titanic hitting it, which is bank depositors. Here's the billionaire class just laughing. But below the water is First Republic Bank, which has been totally collapsing in the last week. It's down like 90% or something. It's another giant bank. Silvergate Bank already went down, PacWest Bancorp. Then below that are the next big ones, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, which is totally insolvent, Credit Suisse, which almost collapsed this week. This is all happening in real time. Then below that are the real big ones, or the bigger ones. HSBC, the giant money launderer, which I actually support money laundering. Chase, Citigroup, Capital One, UBS. Then you got the real big ones, the JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, US Bancorp, Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, and then below it all, the Federal Reserve. What the hell? The iceberg crashed into us. Yeah, and it's gonna do it even more. Yeah, so if you haven't been getting ready, you should be. It's probably too late, I have to tell you. It's probably too late. If you haven't done anything yet, you're probably going down with the system. You're probably gonna end up chipped and in a concentration camp, which they call a 15-minute city, in the mile in Saudi Arabia, working slave labor to work off all the debt that they put on top of everyone, that you keep signing your name to and sending them forms every year so they know exactly who you are and where to get you. But yeah, I can barely keep up with all the banks collapsing right now. Another one that collapsed just right after Silicon Valley was Signature Bank, which is another one that's heavily involved in the crypto space. And they just took that one down. And of course, on the board of directors of it is Barney Frank. So they had all their people in place on it to take it down. But yeah, right after Silicon Valley Bank, US regulators have shut down Signature Bank, citing systemic risk. So yeah, Silicon Valley Bank, that was one of Cramer's recommendations.
The 9th best performer year to date is SVB Financial. Don't yawn.
I wonder what Cramer said about Signature Bank.
Business-oriented bank. And to the extent that they have a consumer business, it's focused on the wealthy. You can make a lot of money working with.
You know what's kind of interesting is back in 1999, Jim Cramer and TheStreet.com were pretty much my biggest competitor of my company called Stockhouse.com, which was trying to become like the worldwide financial website. And Street.com was one of our biggest competitors for sure. And we were in about 7 different countries: Hong Kong, Singapore, UK, US, Canada, Australia. We were number 1 in Australia, number 1 in Canada. And Cramer had TheStreet.com and he kind of sold out. And then he became a commentator on CNBC. Like, talk about two guys who went totally different directions. He went and worked for the system, and he's basically just like killing himself, just being a total sellout, lying every day, trying to sell people garbage to ruin their lives. And I've started my own newsletter where I help people, and I've recommended Bitcoin at like $3, Ethereum at $2. It's amazing how many people out there are like, Jeff Berwick's a scammer, he's a pump and dumper. I recommended Bitcoin at $3.